Hey there, my friend. Perry Tinsley here, and I'm going to share with you a quote that I got from a book that I'm reading, and it just kind of hit me hard, and I'm like, gosh, this could really apply to so many things in life. Well, let me see if it resonates with you. Now, I'm reading a book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's by a guy by the name of Maxwell Maltz. I think he's a doctor. I'm trying to remember his story. He is or was a plastic surgeon. And it's like, oh my gosh. He was talking about his clients, and even after they have some plastic surgery done, they still will have self-doubt. They'll still have challenges, even though their externals changed, their internal hasn't. Okay, so the quote goes something like this: I have found that one of the most commonest causes of unhappiness among my patients is that they're attempting to live their lives on the deferred payment plan. I'm like, wow. I mean, how many times we're waiting for something, delaying our happiness until some sort of thing happens. So I'm going to talk about this for a bit here on this podcast. So should we delay our happiness? I'm guessing you know the answer to that. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in here on the Power Blast podcast, where we provide nourishment for the soul, allowing you to transform from the inside out, providing rapid results in mindset and fitness. Hey, so that you can recharge your mental and physical battery and reclaim your power. And before we jump into this great stuff, I do want to encourage you, when you're ready, jump over onto my calendar at talktoperry.com. It's wide open for podcast listeners, and it's absolutely free. All about keeping that energy high and reaching all of your goals. And I want to help you recharge your mental and physical battery, reclaim your power so that you can be in control and really make things happen in your life. We do that in 15 minutes. That's over at talktoperry.com. Now, it's really common to assume that happiness comes from certain things in life. We look at things like somebody happy on TV or social media, we're scrolling, or we just know people are happy and fulfilled, and we look at them sometimes in awe, and we make the assumption that they're happy. We're just seeing what they're projecting, but we look inward and we're like, what am I missing? What would make me happy? Should I change my career? Should I be in better shape? Should I earn more money? Maybe it's buying a bigger house or a faster car. Maybe I should travel more, donate more. We get these things that are just racing through our heads. And I hadn't given this much thought until, the other morning I'm in making my breakfast, listening to this audiobook by Maxwell and Maxwell Maltz. I can make sure I say his last name right. A lot of times I'm in the middle of a couple different audiobooks, but this one's the one that's got me gravitated. And to tell you the truth, I think it's worth getting it either on Kindle or the real book, because sometimes when you get a really good, just impactful book like this, listening to it while you're doing other things probably doesn't make it as impactful as it could when you've got your full attention there on the page. So that aside, he's talking about, he just points out that people are delaying their happiness. And by doing that, they're going to have challenges, and it's going to make a tough time enjoying life. Why are we waiting? And so I'm making the connections, to this little truth bomb here about living life on this deferred payment plan. And so, he goes on to say, people aren't living or enjoying their life now. They're always waiting for something in the future to happen. I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I'll be happy when I get fit. I'll be happy when I have the better job. I'll be happy when I find the ideal mate, or get married, or pay off the house. Or I'll be happy when the kids are finally, gone through college, or I've helped them pay through college, or I'm finally retired from that job. Each of those is like a perceived victory. And a lot of times they end up in disappointment, or they're unfulfilled, and then we're on to the next thing. That's why I embrace, when I'm helping coach clients to lead a happy, healthy, fulfilling life. It's like we even visualize what will that feel like when you get there, because whatever that ideal vision is of what the goal is, feeling happy, healthy, fulfilled. And somebody tell me that they want to lose some weight or whatever. It's like, how will that feel when it's there? Because you need to be that now. Okay, it's an inside job. It's a mental habit, and you learn to practice. It's got to be practiced. You got to embrace it now. And I know a lot of times we have just gotten into this habit of pushing things out to the next, to the next, to the next. I often think of back in my teaching days. I used to run these little virtual, well, sometimes they were in person, little fit clubs. And I would just even want to set up some really cool meetings with teachers. And I'd be like, okay, I got this event thing that I'm going to be doing. Are you in? And it would almost be a knee-jerk reaction. Like, right now, it's not a good time of the year. After this testing session is done, or after the holidays are done, or back in the spring. And it was kind of always pushing things out further and further and further, realizing things weren't ever going to let up. And how often do we do that with our health and fitness stuff, right? Like Dr. Maltz says, when one problem is solved, another one comes in and takes place. We do that with our goals when life settles down. I heard that from so many teachers, especially because typically as teachers we had June, July, part of August that were off, a little more freeing. We weren't in the classroom, and that always seemed to be the time that people would put things off until then. So then when I have that conversation when the school year would start up, it's like, how did summer go for you? They chose to be distracted by one other thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was just busy. And we wear that busy badge a lot, don't we? I'll exercise and get that in when I have more time, when I have more energy, when life settles down. I'll be happy and fulfilled when you insert the goal or the problem that you choose, right? It's becoming, what's really cool about this, if you're tuning in, is becoming aware of your thinking and your behaving. I mean, that's a huge step right there, because you can do something about it. When we're on just this little habit, I call it like a habitual hamster wheel, but then sometimes we're ricocheting all over the place and back on the hamster wheel. We aren't really there. We're just like, what's next? What's going on? And I remember when I got serious and I really wanted to start my fitness journey. I'm like, I'm serious this time. Have you ever done that? Because I was delaying my fitness and getting started and sticking with it at least 6 times. And it took me 16 months to actually get committed and stay committed. 16 months by the time I got serious. So often, I'm not into it. I need more time. When life settles down, when I need, I have more energy, when I feel motivated, we do that with our happiness, or at least some of us do. What are you delaying? What's that big goal that you've been wanting to reach, but for some reason you keep putting it off? The other day, I've got an audio podcast wherever you listen to podcast episodes. I do a daily podcast. And if you were to go back to episode 893, I gave tips on stopping procrastination. What do you need to embrace the habit and start doing it now? Being happy, being fulfilled, getting in shape, launching a business, spending time with family, traveling, starting a podcast. I even mentor people to do podcasting now. So I tell people, if you get over to talktoperry.com, it doesn't have to be health and fitness. We could talk about podcasting if you desire to start your own show. But it's taking that time to step back and saying, what am I waiting for? And when I get there to my desired goal, am I taking time to acknowledge that? Am I happy, or am I on to the next thing? One more story here. I remember when my first wife had passed away, I found that this was a great illustration of this delaying. I'll be happy when, because I was searching for, I felt empty. I felt, and I was looking for something to fill that void. And so I did a lot of shopping, and I would buy a TV, and I'm like, oh, this will bring me joy. And it might have been happy. The anticipation was happy, but once I got it, I was on to the next shopping spree. The void didn't get filled. It's like, oh, that wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be. Maybe something else. Maybe something else. Maybe something else. And it would just be that way. So, I mean, just know that you can choose to use your power and take control, or you can let the excuses, the procrastination, the justifications, the alibis, the negotiation with yourself of why you need to wait. You let those things control you and drain your power. And really, it boils down to deciding and committing to yourself and your goals and choosing to figure out and living in the now. Choosing to figure out new ways, looking at possibilities, learning and growing, and keep moving forward. I'd love to hear your top takeaway. Drop those in the comments. I do take the time to reply to those. And just know, you absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness Community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find the show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.